This is Smarter San Diego TV.
Our next guests are the McLaughlin Team with Home Street Bank. Please welcome home loan experts Petya and Cooper McLaughlin.
Team McLaughlin, what's up?
Hey.
How y'all doing? Welcome
Good.
to the show.
Derek,
You're here.
we're happy to be here.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, it's great to have you. I know you both very well. Go way back, right?
Way back.
Way back. So today, talking about, you guys have had a lot of success in the mortgage industry, and we want to talk about that, of course. I would love to get to Building San Diego, which I know has been a huge thing that you guys have got behind, sort of an idea that we came up with together.
Yeah,
it's worked out really well. But I want to sort of give people a background on what you're doing, how you've been able to do it. So first of all, your mortgage team, it's your husband-wife mortgage team. I think people have seen the Realtor husband-wife teams, but not the mortgage husband-wife teams. How does that work out?
Well, I mean, for me, it's been great. The transition back into the mortgage world, especially with my wife, she's been doing a fantastic job. Been doing this since, I think, 2003?
2001.
Or 2001, excuse me. So, with that kind of background, she made the transition pretty easy for me. And we actually met 2006 at a function that was put on from a realtor friend of ours. And she showed up. My realtor friend was a little late getting there, and so we ended up having a conversation, and we just was like, boom.
So the industry brought you together.
The industry brought us together.
The
Yeah.
competition just merged.
Yeah, she wanted to find out who I was because I was getting the realtor's business. So she figured she had eliminated the competition.
Had to do what I had to do.
If you can't beat them, join them, right?
Exactly.
Or make them join you. Well, either way, same result, right, Petya?
Yeah.
I love it. Well, tell me why Home Street for you guys? I mean, I know there's a lot of banks out there, and so picking a platform to lend on is really important. So, what's so good about Home Street?
Well, I joined Home Street first, and we had a lot of banking background from Bank of America, 5.5 years. So we wanted to find a home. My whole team wanted to find a home where we can have control, but didn't want to be with a big bank when there's a lot more delays and bureaucracy and conditions and just clumsiness. And in this very, the environment where there's all the audit and TRID and everything we knew was coming on board, we wanted to be with a company that it's fast and responsive and close on time, very competitive on the rate, but small and innovative. So
Nimble.
that was, so that
Some of those big banks is like the Titanic.
Yes.
Getting anything done, it's like turning the Titanic.
You can't turn it that quickly, and here we can, and it's been very, very, very positive experience. Very happy.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I think too the management team and the people involved. Petya's boss at the time and still is Scott Stiers, who was just not only a fantastic guy, but he really looks out for the team. And then that carried over with a lot of the people at Home Street Bank, from the top to the bottom. Anthony Grost, who's in charge of the new development and new construction divisions, just fantastic people, and they really get behind you. A lot of support.
You really feel like you're a family there, which was very important to me. So you have a family outside of family. And then when he had a choice to go wherever he wanted, he interviewed with a few companies and chose Home Street, and it was the best choice.
Okay, that's awesome. So, and speaking of new construction, Building San Diego was a new featured segment on Smarter San Diego.
Yeah.
We've done a few
Yeah.
of the featured segments, going really well. People love to know what's being developed in their areas. They really like knowing what's going on. They see construction cones, they see, stuff happening, but they don't know what it is. So people love finding out. Even in San Diego, where there's very little construction happening based on the demand versus the demand.
Oh yeah.
Here, if someone's building 3 homes in an area, that's like a big deal.
It is a big deal, and I think especially in these markets, I think people want to know not only how are they building those homes, but who's building those homes, and kind of what the community plan is for some of this stuff as well. So we're getting it's been a great segment, and this was definitely something brainchild I think that you developed that just has been fantastic for us. So
Yeah, it's something that I don't think is going to end anytime soon. I mean, other than if construction ends, then we may have trouble with building San Diego segment. And it's on the decline. That's what's so crazy. You know, there's such an enormous demand for people to come to San Diego. I mean, the number of new people moving here, I think it was 10,000 the last time they checked that. 10,000 people a year moving to San Diego. 800 new people per month move here.
And people
We're not
want
building
new
that many
construction.
units.
Yeah, they want new. So that's huge demand for that.
yeah, I mean, the land, it's hard to find. I mean, if you want to be remotely close to the city center, it's the densities, it's got to get greater density.
And it's I think that's the direction that it's headed in San Diego, very similar to San Francisco or New York, where the land becomes so precious that you really have to build up. I mean, if you've got a house, a home, you're going to have something really special 10, 15, 20 years from now.
I think so, and you're starting to see some of that in North Park, some of these other neighborhoods. They're redoing some of the ordinances to allow for greater densities as well.
Oh, really?
So,
To build them up?
to build them up, fit, more square footage on, each individual lot. So I think they're starting to see that and understand it, and, understand that it's good for the communities as well.
And a part of what's cool with the people that you guys are working with who are out there building San Diego is you're not just doing the loans. I mean, you're doing so much more than that. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I mean, one nice thing about us at Home Street is that, obviously the financing is what our focus is, but we're partners in the sales process as well. So everything from the education of the sales agents to marketing materials, to even helping them get their condo projects approved through Fannie Mae, FHA, Freddie Mac, VA. We can handle all of that internally. So we're more of a partner in the entire project, and we really want to do something that adds value, where these people don't look at us just as a financing partner, but as a partner that's going to help them not only build and develop the project, but sell the project as well.
Right, because if you're building something in San Diego, I mean, my goodness, the paperwork, the rigmarole, to just put that all together, it really is a lot. There is so much to do there. So to help out with that is huge for you guys to do that, to offer that to someone who's out there already going through this crazy process, to be able to take care of all the things that will help get financing for the people who want to actually buy it. I mean, how long does it take before these builders actually get to think about who's going to buy it and how they're going to sell it, and they get through this whole paperwork process?
Well, I mean, that's the thing. There's so many steps, because if the projects aren't put together, and you're starting to see this now when the development stuff picks up, you get the smaller developers who maybe don't understand that they have to have certain insurance requirements, other requirements in order for lending to take place on these projects. So for them to go through the process and hire people and try to learn something on that level, it gets very expensive. So especially with the new developers coming in, there's such a huge benefit where we can guide them through that entire process. They don't make those mistakes. They have a product at the end that's very saleable. And it's
financeable,
and which is huge. Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole key, isn't
Yeah.
it? I mean, how many people are buying in cash? There's a lot of people buying in cash, but the vast majority of people still buy with financing.
Absolutely, yeah.
So these new projects, and a lot of it's just VA here in San Diego, a lot of it's FHA, and that requires a special type of approval on a lot of these units.
And we do for free for the developers, which is also big. Not only they don't have to have that person, but they have to pay to get that approved. What you said earlier about the first-time home buyers, cash is easy, mostly investors or foreign investors. We want to target the first-time home buyers, the millennials, the young people. They want to buy with little down payment, be in that price range where they can live in the city and afford a home.
Right, that's everyone's dream. That's the dream, right?
As someone who is an immigrant here and didn't have that growing up, I think that's why I'm a big fan of that and work really hard for that.
Well, we welcome you with open arms, Petya.
Thank you. I feel welcome.
It's great to have you here. And thank
Yes,
you
it
guys so
is.
much for coming in today and sharing this and all the good stuff you're doing with Building San Diego. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your time.
Hey, thanks a lot,
you.
Derek.
Stick around for more Smarter San Diego TV, where we guarantee to make you smarter than everyone else, commercial free.
Our next guest is the life of the party. Please welcome back real estate expert Nicole Hazelton and her special guest, Walid Romaya, the CEO of RealStir.
Welcome back, the life of the party. She's here.
Thanks.
Nicole, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
All right,
Thanks
great
for
to
having
see
us.
you. Yes, this is awesome. Walid, also welcome to the program.
Thank you.
I've been hearing about RealStir for a long time. I don't know much about it, but Nicole, obviously this is something that you thought was a big deal. You wanted to bring Walid on today. Tell us why.
I did, because there's so many search engines out there for property buyers, and you know, as a listing agent, you work really hard for your listings, and I really like this product. I use it myself for my listings and to just allow my buyers to search for properties online. So I think it's good to just let the general public know what's out there aside from the larger property search sites.
We can use the names. Zillow, Redfin, okay, they're all out there. Walid, tell me, I use Redfin. Tell me why I should use RealStir.
RealStir is a new platform that I wanted to create because there's a big problem in the industry. There's over 1 million agents underrepresented on the big platforms like Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, where they have to pay a lot of money and they cannot be in their own zip codes. So we believe the agent should be the true local expert. So when you search in an area as a consumer, that agent who knows the area should show up on the map and help you either find a home to buy or sell.
What do you mean by underrepresented?
Well, there's over 1.1 million members of the National Association of Realtors. There's another million licensed agents and brokers that are not members of the NAR. So there's over 2 million professionals out in the United States. But only about 100,000 agents are on the top platforms like that we all know, like Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com. Redfin, by the way, is a brokerage, so we can add that to the mix. So there's 1.9 million agents that are really not on any of these platforms, either because the zip codes are closed up, because they only allow so many, and then they lock it up, and then and also because the price is too high. They have to pay $500-600, maybe up to $1,000 a month to get leads. So they are really just lead gen sites, and we think no, it should be open, so every agent should be there, but the consumer should also benefit by finding the correct agent. So for example, Nicole knows Little Italy well. She should show up in Little Italy, not in Escondido.
Right, I mean, it's expensive to advertise via these sites. So I used to say, you know, my listings are being held hostage by these big search conglomerates because you have to pay to have your information on your listing as the listing agent. So even if you're not a participating member of RealStir, as a listing agent, your contact information is on your listing, which is something that I
get it now.
I can attest to. And then if you are a paid member, it's a very low fee. I think it's $40 a month.
It's $40 a month, yes.
Yeah, so if you're searching for my listings in downtown, my face will pop up on my listings if I'm paying for the site as an advertiser. And then you'll see blog posts that I write. They might be geotagged to where I wrote them at. So you can see that you're actually working with the local expert in that area. They know, the restaurants, they know the nightlife, they have the listings. And then when a client actually selects an agent to work with, that agent shows up on all of the listings.
Yeah, correct, exactly. So we only give attribution to the listing agent. We do not believe in sharing your listing with 3 other people, agents. We don't believe like if you list a property, you should have 3 other signs outside your own listing on the street. That's basically the model that the other portals have. Imagine that.
It's
so
true. It's true.
That's exactly what it is. It's the digital form of that.
It's a digital form of that, exactly. I think that's a broken model. And those models did a good job to bring us to this point, so we can't beat them up. They're really done a great job, but that's really a dated model. It's been 10, 15 years old, and it's time for some innovation in the industry.
So one of the big knocks on Zillow is inaccuracy, which is something that has been, the information, if you go and you look there, a lot of times you find homes, this sold 2 years ago or whatever it may be. How do you make sure that doesn't happen for RealStir?
Yeah. Well, first we get direct feeds from an aggregator that we get for the whole country. So we have about 1.6 million listings. And these listings are updated every 12 to 24 hours. And also in certain marketplaces like San Diego, we are actually starting to get direct IDX feeds through participating brokers.
Okay, you are. So, and I think that's really the key, because at the end of the day, I mean, I think Zillow has a terrible reputation. I don't know why people use it. honestly. I mean, I know the Zestimate is something that people want to go there for automated valuation models. See, oh, what is my house worth? But we know that it's not right.
Well, especially in places like downtown. I mean, you're not comparing apples to apples. You can be comparing a luxury building with a low-rise building, and they're just not the same. So
those square feet matter.
Yeah.
Where they are located.
Right. So I heard a statistic one time that they were, 20% inaccurate 60% of the time. That's a big percentage.
Do we add those together? How does the math work on that? What's the order of operations for something like that? Try before you buy is something that I know is sort of you're the brainchild behind that. And for me, I'm trying to think about it logistically, and I'm thinking this seems like there's no way that this could work. So tell me about, how does try before you buy work, and is it actually working?
Yeah, okay. So TBYB, which is our trade name, TBYB, is really, think of it as a tool that you put in your tool chest. It's needed when someone, say, is on the fence about buying a home. That, let's say they're looking for 3 properties, and they're not sure, but they need to stay in the home or visit it again. We've all had this as professionals. We've had this client says, can I go back again? Can I go back again? Because they're not sure about this. Sometimes the best thing is just to go there and actually stay in the property. And it is our most expensive purchase for most people. That's a big investment to buy a home. Why not stay in it and try it? We try our cars, we try our shoes, and sometimes it takes, some people it takes them an hour to decide on a shoe, but 10 minutes to decide on a house.
That is true.
So why not do it for a home? We do not think it applies to all situations. Of course, in a very hot market, you're going to have multiple offers. That's not normally not an option. But really think of it as a tool that you would deploy as you need it. So what we decided to do, we put a TBYB button on every listing that we have, 1.6 million listings. You can go there and you can press the button. The request goes to the seller. The seller decides if they say yes or no. And if they say yes, they will set up their price per night. We have a full, robust system behind it. We have insurance. We have terms and conditions, all the issues about damage and all of that. So think of it right now as a vacation rental site married to a for sale listing.
So I was thinking, just like an Airbnb, you're just Airbnb-ing it essentially for someone who might want to buy the place.
Yeah, you're basically doing an Airbnb for the actual listing. So when you go to Airbnb or HomeAway or VRBO or Flipkey, these homes are vacation rentals, but you really don't know if they're for sale or not. This is actually, you're there to try the actual home to buy it. So we're upfront. You're really doing it to try the home in order to decide if you want to do it or not. So there's a lot of arguments for and against. I would recommend you go to realster.com. We have a very robust FAQ section. Explains if you're a buyer, if you're a seller, if you're an agent, and answers most of the questions that we typically get.
I just saw CarMax came out and said, any car you buy from us, you have 5 days to bring it back and get a full refund. So I think this idea is more and more appealing to people out there. By the way, we promoted a lot of big brands.
Free publicity.
We're here to talk about RealStir, yes. By the way. I saw that and I thought, man, that's a really good idea, especially with cars. Because it's tough to know how a car is going to drive in your routine until you go through your routine. Same thing with houses. How is it going to play out in your routine of like getting up, driving to work? What is the traffic like during that time of the day? When you come home, where's the sun setting? Where's the light in the house? Those are things you just don't find out usually until you move in. Now you're $600,000-$700,000 into a place, committed, and you're there. You got a 30-year mortgage, and now you find out that the light hits in a weird angle, and you have to buy some curtains, and that view you thought you were going to get at night doesn't work, or whatever it may be. So I love the idea. I've just wondered about the execution, but now that you've put it in terms of it's just an Airbnb, essentially, of a home that's for sale, I think the next buyer's market, that's going to be a really hot deal.
Yeah.
Well, and the beautiful thing is it's not a vacation rental. So you can probably get around those pesky HOA guidelines,
Correctly.
especially in places like downtown. So
yeah, that's
Good
a
work.
great point. Fantastic stuff. Anything else we should know about RealStir, Walid?
We are based in San Diego, so we are a software technology company, started here. So we're a classic Silicon Valley style startup. So really tech heavy with industry people got together. So we have a very robust team. We have a lot of industry support. Some top players in the industry are behind us on our board of advisors. And we're really excited. We just started, we just launched. We have about agents right now in about 38 states around the country. Our goal will be in all 50 states by the end of this year. And it's just, we're just getting going.
Well, I have a feeling you're going to do it. Just have a feeling. Thank you guys so much for coming. Really appreciate your time.
Appreciate it. Thanks for
check it out. Realster. If you're looking for properties online, why not? See if it's better than some of the other sites out there. I think you might be surprised. And stick around for more Smarter San Diego TV, where we guarantee to make you smarter than everyone else. Commercial free.
Our next guest is our go-to guy in Scripps Ranch. Please welcome back to the show real estate expert for Coldwell Banker Residential and board member of Scripps Ranch Fire Safe Council, Scott Ryan, and his special guest, Karen Herreros, secretary of the Scripps Ranch Fire Safe Council, and Captain Joe Amador of the San Diego Fire Department, Public Education Program Manager.
All right, welcome back, Scotty.
Thanks, man. Good to see you.
Good to have you here. Scripps Ranch team Scripps Ranch here, right? It's all about, it's fire season pretty much year-round in Scripps Ranch, right? But it's starting to get dry. There's fires that are burning up in LA. It's time to talk about it, Scotty.
Yeah, well, I brought on the Karen from the Fire Safe Council, who I met last year. We had Christy on the show as well, and thought it was important to bring her back. We've been doing a lot of community involvement, trying to get the message out there. Another reason why I brought on Joe from the San Diego Fire Department to tell us more about, how we can help the public get more educated and prepared on fire safety. So
yeah, and the big expo this year, it's not just about fire safety, right? So there's a whole bunch to it.
Yeah, it's a huge thing. So September 24th, it'll be from 12 to 5. We invite all the Scripps Ranch residents and even residents from other parts of the county to come and get educated. It's our big annual event. We have a lot of speakers there and people who are going to really help the public become more aware. We will be handing out our evacuation plans, which allow people in Scripps Ranch to know which way to go and how to be prepared when the fire does come. But more than just the fire preparedness, we're talking about sustainability in Scripps Ranch. We're talking about drought-tolerant landscape. We're talking about water efficiency in your home. So there's going to be a lot of great topics for us to talk about then. Okay,
very, very cool. And I think everyone was involved in the fires in 2003, right? That's sort of the common connection here. But I mean, Karen, that's my understanding. That's how you kind of got the impetus. You saw homes burning across the street and said,
Yes.
okay, we need to do something about
That's
this, right?
exactly how we started, yes.
Tell us that story.
Well, up on our street, there were, 14 houses that either burned down completely or burned to some extent. And we live on a canyon, and we talked to the firefighters, and they said, if the fire goes in your canyon, we won't go into it because you can only get in one way, you can't get out the other way, and they would be caught. So fortunately, they stopped it before it got to our canyon, just on the corner of our street, right there on Similon and Ave Mag. They stopped the fire. Afterwards, we kind of talked about, okay, we've been here since '77. That canyon originally was watered because there was nothing in it when we moved in, and now it's full of just about everything. And it would make a great tinderbox, and it would burn real good. So we decided to figure out what we could do about it. So a bunch of neighbors got together and investigated how to start a fire safe council, got involved with the county fire safe council, and started making phone calls and got our canyon cleaned up. And then we branched out into helping the rest of Scripps Ranch, neighborhoods, giving them advice, and changed from what we originally were called the Chimney Canyon because the firefighter said, it's like a chimney down there. So we started out as Chimney Canyon Fire Safe Council, and then we branched out to all the neighborhoods in Scripps and changed, now we are the Scripps Ranch Fire Safe Council.
And Joe, that's, I mean, fighting fires, very difficult thing to do. I mean, it's like this insane natural thing that happens, fire. And it's like, winds are blowing, Santa Ana's can really make it crazy. But what she's saying is true. A lot of those areas, it's like kindling. I mean, it's like perfect material for a fire to just go wild. And there's a lot of that in Scripps Ranch. Tell us about your role.
Absolutely. Well, right now I'm assigned to the public education office as a public education program manager, and I get to go out and do neat stuff like this and kind of partner up with the Scripps Ranch Fire Safe Council and educate the citizens and the community members about the dangers of wildland fire. So we spread that safety message, and we love doing it. This year, as you already mentioned, there's fires raging in California. Here in Southern California, Los Angeles particularly, there's a sand fire that's going on. It's already burned up 19 homes. And we want to prevent that. Obviously, we've been affected by wildfire here in San Diego. 2003 was the big one. 2007 also was a big one. And since what spawned out of those tragedies and those disasters were Fire Safe Council, partnership with the San Diego Fire Department, and education through the community. And together, we're moving towards keeping a safe community, having the fire department involve the community, and just spreading the safety message of preparation of against wildland fire safety.
And it's one of those things where residents, they may see a lot of things happening. They may see there's a fire council, there's people are getting different kinds of shingles on their roofs, and they may think maybe that it's safer now. But in reality, right, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. I mean, there's going to be, more fires in San Diego. We're not going to be you can't stop them from coming. Is that right, Joe? That's
absolutely correct. You can't stop them, but hopefully we can minimize the damages. And every year, hundreds of homes are threatened by, the dangers of wildland fires. We're out there trying to educate the community, and what we've done since out of these tragedies is we've added extra staffing, we've got extra equipment, put in millions of dollars into wildland fires, added a second helicopter, staffed more brush engines, extra staffing during those extra red flag warning days, which is when the conditions are really ripe for wildland fire. This is what we've done. What we're asking the public to do is do their part so that we can help them help themselves. And some of the things, along with Fire Safe Council, like Scripps Ranch, clearing out the brush, creating defensible space around the property, preparing your evacuation plan, so when it's time to go, we already have a designated route to take. Preparing a go bag, a evacuation kit, you can call it, which has medicine, extra paper, important papers, all those things you need to get, not in the time of the emergency, but beforehand. Have it ready, and then get ready to go. When it's time to go, when the authorities say you have to leave, have it already ready to go. Our car's parked facing out. We're ready. We're going to take the designated route out here, and we're going to hopefully get out of here safely and minimize the damages to life and property.
That's the Ready, Set, Go program.
Absolutely.
Right? Just in a nutshell right there.
San Diego Fire Department has adopted the Ready, Set, Go program. It's a nationally recognized program that we've adopted here that you can get on our website, which is sandiego.gov, and explains all those particulars and details you can do to prepare yourself, prepare your property, so wildland fire threatens, you're ready to go.
Yeah, because we do get warnings, right, Scott? I mean, the residents will usually know, like, okay, something's happening, but what's the best way to actually get the information? I mean, is there some sort of alert that you can sign up for on your phone, or is there any way to know other than just staying connected?
I'll let Karen attest to that. I mean, we're getting the message out there through the evacuation plans and through the expo and through our Facebook page. So please like our Facebook page, because there'll be important messages on there as well if something is happening. But
Alert San Diego is another one. Nextdoor.com is another one that alerts people. And to add what Captain Joe said, one of the things I get emails periodically from residents who go, the Fire Safe Council just wants to burn down all protect all the eucalyptus trees, or cut all the eucalyptus trees down in Scripps Ranch, and you're just all about fear. Education. We just want to educate the people to what they can do to help themselves, because, the firefighters get, overwhelmed, obviously, and, education, like Joe said, that's what they're doing, and that's what we're trying to do, is just educate the public to how to be prepared, not to scare them, just to educate them.
Yeah, I mean, the fire's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So
but
I mean,
Alert San Diego is a good one.
Okay, Alert San Diego. Yeah, I mean, it's if you feel like someone's bringing fear to you, ask yourself, is this a realistic situation? This is a very realistic situation.
Absolutely.
I mean, we have recent history to show us that, and we also know that based on the way that the wind conditions work, the Santa Ana winds, and the dryness in a lot of these areas. I mean, there's certain areas in Carlsbad, I know for sure, that where I've seen myself, where I've walked and I couldn't believe it. I mean, it's like dry grass this tall on acres of land, and I'm going, what is happening here? But it's preserved land, and no one can touch it. And so there's so many things that are going on that are not fire safe. So we have to combat that in as many ways as possible, just to try to tip the scale as much as we can toward the safe direction. There's no way to get it 100%. There's too many roadblocks. So being educated is not being fearful, it's just being smart.
Yeah, smart.
I highly recommend it, by the way.
That's another reason we paired up with Sustainable Scripps Ranch. for the expo, because people go, okay, I'm going to stop watering my lawn. So the grass is all dead, and now what do you have? Nice fire fuel and grass. I mean, it burns, dead grass burns real nice. It makes it good. So we're trying to educate people, don't just let the lawn die because you want to save water. Do something, instead.
Got it. Scott, anything else you think we should know from the fire side before we talk real estate?
No, I'm just thankful to have them, and I'm thankful to have these volunteers and these people. I mean, just let the residents of Scripps Ranch know that these are volunteer community people that are working hard for you. So, the more you can support us, the better we'll be off. We do have a golf tournament coming up in October, and we'd love for you guys. It'll be on the Facebook page as an event. I believe it's October 22nd. So that's our big fundraiser for the year. So we'd love for you to attend and have people come join us for that event as well.
Awesome. Now you've got a pretty fire-safe home that's for sale.
I do. It has a tile roof, so. Real quick, new listing. It'll be upcoming the next couple of weeks. It's a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 2159 square foot home. It's located at the top of Mesa Madera Drive at 10435 Mesa Madera. So, nicely upgraded home. If you have any interest, give me a call and be sure to get you in there. Inventory is low and real estate market is still hot. Hopefully not with fire. Right
Yeah,
now.
really.
Exactly. Be careful. I've said that before. Oh, Scripps Ranch is on fire, and then I'm like, oh my God.
No, don't say that.
What am I saying? I'm giving the wrong message here. But I'm talking about the real estate market. Sorry. All right. Thank you guys so much for coming. Really appreciate everything you do. Captain Joe, Karen, Scott, thank you guys so much. Check it out, Scripps Ranch. It's being smart, not being fearful. Stick around for more Smarter San Diego TV, where we guarantee to make you smarter than everyone else. Commercial free.
Now it's time for the Real Estate Debate, where we debate the hottest topics in San Diego real estate. Let's meet today's panelists. Vinny Enriquez, Realtor at Keller Williams Metro San Diego. Arlo Nugent, Broker-Owner for Blue Chip Realty Group. Chris McCullough, Manager for Kim Steele & Associates at Signature Real Estate Group. And Christian Peter, Founder of San Diego Home Company.
Welcome to the Real Estate Debate, gentlemen.
Thanks.
The gentleman's version. No ladies represented, but that's okay. So we've got some hot topics on the table today, stuff that I've been hearing from people right here in San Diego, buyers and sellers. I want you to just tell me if you agree or disagree and why. Arlo, we're going to start with you on topic number 1. If someone is selling a home in Carlsbad and buying a home in Chula Vista, they should use different agents for each transaction that specialize in those areas. Agree or disagree?
Disagree.
Tell me why.
I disagree. Right now we have the most informed consumer that we've ever had. With the internet, you can go on, you can see walk score, what restaurants are good, you can see crime stats, you can see everything about a property.
Okay, so you don't think they need to have different agents that specialize in the
I don't.
areas?
Same contracts. No, that. So if I'm working with somebody on the selling side, I know their story. I know why they're selling. I know what they're looking for. I know what it is about this house that they didn't like and what they're looking for in their next house. It's an easier transition.
Okay, just to have one agent in the process.
I agree.
Okay, Vinny?
I disagree with an asterisk. I think there's so many components that go on in the transaction. So if you're selling your property and buying a property contingent on the sale of it, it's nice to have a common voice throughout the whole process to alleviate some of that stress. Now, if you're selling a property and then renting and then buying, it might be beneficial to use 2 agents that specialize in the different areas. If you can't find the right agent that offers the qualities that I think are positive or easy, better for the transaction process, knowledgeable, consistent, and compassion. So if you can't find that in one agent or a team, then you have to split it up and go with 2 agents.
Okay. Chris?
I personally believe that people should use 2 different agents. And look, I will caveat with this, and the reason why I say it is we specialize in Fallbrook. So our team, we list properties in Vista, we list them in Valley Center, a whole bunch of different places all through San Diego, North County, but we specialize in Fallbrook. I would challenge a lot of people, if they don't understand the Fallbrook market, to go up there and actually try to learn it, to actually take care of their client, which at the end of the day, our job is to look out for our client in their best interest. We actually turned down a property recently because it was just not in our wheelhouse and we didn't specialize in that market. So in my opinion, if I don't know that market, the right thing to do by the client is to pass them to somebody else. Now, if you know that market, so if I'm an agent in Carlsbad and I know Chula Vista, then absolutely, then you should do both transactions. But if you don't know that market, you're not doing a justice to your client. I don't think you should do it. That's my opinion.
Interesting, Fallbrook's your market. I've been studying Fallbrook for years.
Fallbrook
quite a bit. Christian, what do you think?
I definitely, to piggyback off of what Chris said, think that's exactly the case. I think as a listing agent, we can list and sell homes really well, usually anywhere in the country. We know what it is to list and sell a home, right? We're going to make it look good, we're going to stage it, we're going to take fantastic photos, we're going to expose it to the entire market, we're going to negotiate on our seller's behalf, and we're going to do the best job possible. On the buyer's side, completely different ballgame, right? Because we're usually out there listing and selling homes. So we want to have somebody who's going to work with that client, take them to the homes they want to see, and negotiate on their behalf. Also, Carlsbad and Chula Vista, completely different markets, right? So you're talking 200,000 people in Carlsbad, 200,000 people in Chula Vista. You've got, one market that's going to be different than the other. You've got the west side of Chula Vista, which is completely different than the east side of Chula Vista. So on our team, what we would do is we'd have a listing person that would work directly with them to sell their home. Then we'd have a buyer's agent that worked directly with them to find their next home. So that's the way you kind of take that into account. You want to have that listing person who takes care of them on the listing side, and that buyer's person that's going to hold their hand the entire time and show them the perfect home.
Okay, yeah, and it's funny you say that because we're talking about, if someone went down to Chula Vista, for example, didn't know the market, they'd say, oh, all these properties are cheaper on the west side. That's
right.
We should buy over there. And maybe that will work out in the long run. But right now, everyone wants to be east. East Lake is where it's at.
Well, it's two different markets, not only that, but so let's say you do walk it in there and they do see, oh, this is the house for me. I'm over in this area. But it may not actually hold to what they want in the long term. So you kind of did them an injustice because you didn't know the market.
And the homeowners out there and consumer buyers, they're very smart now. And they're thinking the same way what you're thinking. They're thinking, well, I want someone working on selling this house, and I want someone else working on helping me find a house. I can't have the same person doing both of those things because it's going to be taking resources away from one of my sides. And that makes sense.
But how many agents only have one client? How many agents, how many listings do you guys usually carry? Well, you're owner, you carry
Yeah, he's an owner. We usually carry anywhere from 20 to 30 at any given time.
And so how many?
7 to 15.
So when you're talking about basically one agent selling and then buying, and we're talking about 20 listings, realistically, how many are just doing one at a time? So it kind of takes away from that.
Well, I understand that, but this is just what people are saying.
No, I understand. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying the idea that, okay, well, we're not going to have enough time to focus on the selling part of it and the buying part of it, I think is a unrealistic expectation. I think if you have the right agent that, like you said, there's so many different platforms out there, like Crime Spot, like even doing a CRM, on the property you're looking to buy, you can factor that in. Okay, well, if you go across the bridge right here, it's going to be more expensive. Why is that? Let me do a little research. Okay, I can figure out what's going on with here. So you have a consistent voice that's kind of walking through. Because if you have two escrows going on at the same time, it makes it very difficult. You have one agent trying to, because we're all mostly Ds.
It's good for
but
left hand to know
I agree
what
with
the right
you.
is
Yeah, exactly.
I agree with you, but to a point.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be the guy that's going to upset everybody.
Yeah.
But I think this is a truth.
Yeah.
How many agents are educated
Well,
enough?
that's, yeah.
Because I would say that, we've all sat down and talked before we got in here, and it's very obvious that we're all deeply immersed in what we do.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of agents that don't know all of the things that you just mentioned, that don't know where to find the information, that don't know what they should say, what they shouldn't say. They don't understand how much time they should be giving a client. They're just trying to get a deal. And in the process, they end up hurting their client.
I agree with that 100%. So when I formed my answer, I was thinking about my own consultation.
Yeah.
When I sit down with the seller, I'm not the one that sits down with comps and just says, okay, well, this house sold for that, you've got this, upgrade that, this is what it's going to sell for, here's a listing agreement. I like to find out really what the motivations are.
Yeah.
And not just we're looking for a smaller house. Why are you looking for a smaller house? What's important to you about that? So taking that time to really understand that helps also with knowing what they're going to look for. Now, I've worked in both markets, but knowing Chula Vista somewhat, if they're telling me they're looking for schools, they're looking for a bigger house, okay, we're looking at API scores, we're looking at walk score, we're looking at crime, we're looking at all of this. Chula Vista, it's pretty easy to say one side is not as good as the other, and that can start that direction. Going out, showing them the properties based on that feedback, refining the search. Do they work with people? Why Chula Vista to begin with? What is it about Chula Vista? Do you know people there? What do they say? What neighborhood are they in? So just taking just a little bit of extra time during that consultation in the beginning. Not all agents do that.
Well, that's the discussion that we actually had earlier, sitting down and actually asking the right questions.
Right.
My concern is, what are the right questions? And if somebody is not an expert in that market, they don't know what the right questions should be to ask. Now, those that have the experience, they're walking down that path, especially if it's in a market that they don't help people buy in often. That's why I think, especially if, and you mentioned it, a buyer's agent, somebody that specializes in that. It's almost like Bentley's. There's a guy that makes steering wheels. He's a third generation guy. You would not want him working on the engine. right? It's just a little bit different.
But to go to that buyer's consultation, what you want to do is you've got a seller and a buyer, right? So your seller is going to want something completely different, the most amount they can possibly get for their home. And then on the buyer side, you want to find them the best deal you possibly can. But you're also going to have their list of non-negotiables, and that's why we go through with all the buyers and we say, okay, here's 26 different points that you may want in your next home. Which one of these are your non-negotiables? Okay, I need to have at least 4 bedrooms. I need to be in the school district. I need these. Okay, now I can go to work for you and I can figure out, okay, this is going to be a perfect home for you. Or these 2 or these 3. Whereas if you're not as experienced on the buyer side of things, you're going to be looking all over the place for that
What are
needle
you
in a haystack.
pre-approved for and zip code?
Let's go out there and just pull like 50 homes and we'll figure it out as we go.
Let's look at 30 and see if you like 5.
And then wonder why they can't close.
Yes, I think
I'm hearing
that's
from
a really
people
good point.
that they're talking to their agents, and their agents are saying, go look online and find the property that you want to see, and then let us know.
See, and that's horrible.
That's happening.
It is happening, and it's happening now more than ever, or maybe as much as back before the market.
Yeah, that's terrible customer service. I mean, we want to go through and preview every single home that fits into their criteria. If there's 10 of them, we'll go find the best 2 or 3. We're not going to send them online to go look at 50 different homes and then come back and say, oh, I want to go look at all 50 of those.
But I've heard that a lot from people who were working with someone else that they met at an open house or something, right? They meet someone else and they said, yeah, we just send our agent what properties we want. That takes us out of the equation. That's not good.
That's wild. Well, not only that, but think about this. Now, I could probably understand that to a point if we were in a market where homes maybe cost $50,000, $100,000. We're in the San Diego market. The median price point in our focused market of Fallbrook and Bonsall, it's $675,000. We're looking at 2.5 to 3% of that, and we turn 5 to 10 of those per month. And I'm going to tell them, that's a lot of money. That's a good day's pay for doing a good day's work. And I'm going to tell them, go on Zillow. Check it out on there. You let me know if you find something.
And then let's write an offer based on this.
Why should they even bother hiring a real estate agent? Why should they hire a real estate agent?
Think about it. Most agents, they're selling and helping someone buy based off fear. Because what are they making right now? 3%. The average agent does a year, or 3 transactions a year, something like that. So if you're only doing 3 transactions a year, and you're like, okay, this is my money maker. This is that individual, my money maker.
Right.
I'm going to basically. They're putting their own interests before their clients.
Yeah, they can really care less,
pay bills.
And they're not experienced enough to know that you have to do a consultation. They're not experienced enough to ask the right question. So that's the issue that kind of really comes about, is making sure that they're experienced, they know that they can, so on and so forth.
That might be why there's so much turnover.
Great discussion. Fantastic. This is exactly what the real estate debate is all about, which is why we need to jump into topic number 2 before we run out of time. This one, I've actually been hearing a lot of people talk about this. Buyers should wait until they have 20% down to buy a home, so there's no mortgage insurance and the payment is more affordable. Agree or disagree?
Totally disagree. People should buy a home based on where it is they want to live for the foreseeable future. If they can afford a home, it fits into their monthly budget, they've got a job that they can rely upon or a way to pay that mortgage on a monthly basis, they should buy exactly what it is they want right now.
Okay. Chris?
I 100% disagree. And I view it as it's a home is not just a home that you're going to fall in love with, that you live in, you raise your family in, and everything else. Your home is also an asset and an investment. Right now in this market where we are, especially in San Diego, my wife and I even do this. We bought a house for $500,000. I rolled all of our money from our last 2 homes we sold. It's worth, after 2 years, $875,000. That's more than most people's jobs are paying them. So you buy a home with 1%, 0%, 3% down right now. 2 years from now, it could appreciate $50,000 to $100,000 to $200,000. Why wouldn't you buy a house right now with these interest rates?
I can tell you what people are saying. They're saying that they don't want to be house poor, that they want to save up, have a big down payment, eliminate the mortgage insurance, get a nice, comfortable, safe payment. That's what it's all about. At least that's what I'm hearing. Vinny, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with them, but I disagree with the statement. I think people focus too much on the PMI. They should more focus on actually the comfort level of the monthly payment, because if you're buying a property, you're planning to live in the property. Let's say the values go down next week. Well, you know what? You're comfortable with the payment. You're going to be paying that payment anyways for rent. So you live in the property for another 10 years, values are going to go back up. So it's not about that PMI having that in there. It's more about that monthly payment that you feel comfortable at. And also, too, there's so many programs out there right now that you can actually do 10% down with no PMI. It's just finding the right lender that's willing to work with you and be creative with it.
That's an interesting point, too, because lending has loosened up. There's some interesting programs out there. Arlo, what do you think on this?
So requiring somebody to come in with 20% down, I think, is very difficult in San Diego, because I tell my clients, you're going to pay somebody's mortgage, it might as well be your own. I mean, we can talk about the tax benefits and everything else, But with a city where rent is as high as it is, it's tough with the median income. If you look at median income, median home price, and then you try to save up 20%, a lot of people are just working just to pay their rent. So then to have all that extra to set aside, I mean, I think that's pricing people out of the market essentially.
Okay, it's going to keep people out. Well, it is
going to keep people out.
Absolutely.
Because, for example,
people out right now.
what if, your senior year of high school, they say, okay, you want to go to college. Well, you have to pay 20% of your tuition for the 4 years up front. How many people are automatically going to say, can't afford that?
Well, there's an argument as to whether they might be better off in that case.
There is.
I'll make an argument with you on that one.
But what about the returns?
But this is different. This is different because we're talking about people have to live somewhere. And people want to buy. We're talking about people who want to purchase. So there's not a lack of desire in these people that I'm referring to in this particular topic. It's simply a comfort issue where people have seen the market go up, they've seen it come down more importantly, and that's sticking like a tattoo, like a tramp stamp. It's on all of us, okay? We've seen it, right? We know what it is, we're looking at it, and going, I don't like it. So what they're saying is, don't want that. I want to be in a situation where I'm very, very comfortable with what I'm purchasing. That's all. I think it's a mental thing. I don't think it's a logic thing. I think it's a psychological, repercussion of the last downturn. My opinion.
And I agree with that. What I do see, though, is that when you put an arbitrary number like 20% down to eliminate PMI or to make their mortgage "quote unquote" affordable, that's a misnomer. That shouldn't be taken into account. What should be is the price of the home and the monthly payment. So if they feel like they need to come in with 20% down, that's because they want a lower monthly payment. So instead of looking at that $800,000 house, they should be looking at a $600,000 house.
Right.
Or they should be looking at a different neighborhood, but they should be looking for something that's going to fit their needs long term. And that way they're not really concerned about the upturns, the downturns, the positive or negative equity at one point. What they're looking at is, I can afford this $3,000 a month mortgage payment for the next 10 years. And if I can do that, it doesn't matter if I put 0% down. What we've seen in the past is that the VA loans, they have the lowest default rate of any mortgage that's out there. So they put 0 down on those properties, right? So when you're looking at somebody who's doing a VA loan or somebody's putting 20% down, the VA loan is typically going to be more stable, it's going to be less default prone, and the reason why is because they know what they're making, they know what they're going to be making 10 years from now, and they can afford the home. Yeah. So that's what we should really be looking at.
I think a problem that usually happens is there's a difference between what you can actually afford compared to what you're comfortable with, like what you're stating right there. And a lot of people, they go, okay, I went to the lender and they said I can afford this kind of payment right here. Well, you're only paying, the payment's going to be $2,500, but you're only paying right now on rent $1,200. Oh, but I can afford it. I always tell people, if you've got a couple months out, pay the $1,200 and put the difference into your bank account. And so you actually feel how it feels on your pocketbook, and you go, well, okay, I guess I really can't afford that much. I need to reduce what I'm looking for and my purchasing power and go for a little bit less.
You make a good point because lending guidelines have loosened, mostly in DTI though, and not in proof of income requirements and things like they did last time. It's mostly in DTI, and a lot of the back-end ratios we're seeing right now and approvals coming through, and I've talked to lenders about this and had them actually do a little survey on a weekly basis on this. And average debt-to-income ratios, back-end debt-to-income ratios on purchases right now in the 40s. That's pretty high. We're talking about gross income. Now, we are talking about higher price points, so the gross amount doesn't factor as much as it would if you were buying $100,000 houses. But
I had one 6 months ago. It was VA. We had it at like 58%.
Yeah.
Like it's.
Wow. See, that's just
high.
I think that the challenge is that a lot of people are buying based off of their hearts and what they want, as opposed to viewing it, like I was saying earlier, as an asset and an investment. Yeah. If they were viewing it as an asset and investment, they would not be looking for the $800,000 home. They would be looking for the $600,000 home, maybe in a different neighborhood that does fit within what they can afford over an extended period of time. And if they did that, then it's a moot point.
That's exactly what I did when I bought my first property, and then I rode the market up. I didn't even look at PMI. I was able then to sell that one, take money that I'd saved over time, money that I made from that one, roll it into my next house and my next house.
And that's what step-up
homes
are supposed to be.
I can live where I live now is because I did that. Had I, been required to come in with 20%, I'd probably still be renting, because it's a tough,
it's a tough jump.
It's a tough jump to get up there.
So going back to what we were talking about in the last topic, I would question, is it the real estate agent's responsibility to educate the buyer And if it is, then why is this even a topic?
It's a topic because people are really talking about it out there.
But that's my point.
Yeah.
If people are really talking about it, then they aren't being educated.
Yep.
And you know, I think real estate agents should really put it out to them. And instead of looking at it, well, oh, they can buy this $800,000 home. You know what? You probably can. But let me show you something that actually maybe you could look at as an asset and something that you have over time. So when you do well, you call me back.
Right.
And I'll sell it for you and help you out with that step-up home.
100% agree to that, and I mean, really, you're not asking the right questions again, right? If it's the
Right.
buyer who's coming to you and saying, hey, I heard I should wait and put 20% down because that's more safe and my payment will be lower, well, then your question back to them is, well, what can you afford right now? Because if it sounds to me like it's more of an affordability issue than it is coming up with 20% down, because living in San Diego, like we know, the median price now is above $500,000. So if you're going to wait and save up $100,000 so that you can go buy a home, you may never buy a home.
Right.
Well, going back to what you're talking about, going to the last statement, if the individual or the agent is looking at this person, this home buyer as a commission, are they really going to say, okay, well, instead of the 800, let's go down to 600, and I'm going to lose that commission right there on the difference? And that's
Right.
the issue that occurs right there.
It is, and it's, you know, we're in a service-based business.
Yeah.
You should be serving the client first. The commission is the byproduct of providing a quality service.
Exactly.
That's how we
agree.
try to treat it.
And I would say this, and great stuff, by the way, fellas, across the board. Fantastic debate today. We'll have to do all guys more often, maybe. I don't know. No offense, ladies, but this was really, really good. I think what the real issue is with people who are saying, I want to hold up and save 20% is just a fear. It's a fear situation. It's not a logical situation. And you know, I hope you can save enough to outpace the appreciation. That's all.
Right.
You know, because if it's 500,000 now and you say you need to save 100, it might be 600 by the time you save 100. Now you need 20 more. And so and I just hope that you can save faster than these homes can go up in value, because if not, I don't know what to tell you. Thank you guys so much for your time today. Really, really appreciate it. Everyone did a fantastic job. There will be more real estate debate next month on the same channel, same time. See you then.
Hey, great show, guys. That's a wrap. Jade, what's your schedule look like? Do you mind breaking down the set?
Not today, Derek. I'd love to, but there's waves out there. I gotta go.
No, I can't either. I'm starting to get hangry and I have way too much stuff to do today. Claudia, you've got this, right?
Sure, guys. I would love to. I'll get right to work.